Kyle Larson just said something that quietly buried a promise he made 8 years ago, and almost nobody noticed what it really means. Back in 2018, he told the world exactly how his career would end: leave the NASCAR Cup Series before turning 40 and chase a full-time winged sprint car championship on dirt. Fans argued about it for years. Some never forgave him for saying it. But this week, ahead of the race at Iowa Speedway, Larson killed that plan with his own words. And here is the part that matters. The reason is not money. It is not his massive contract with Hendrick Motorsports. It is not even about winning. The real answer involves 3 people who have never driven a single lap in a Cup car. And once you hear who is actually in charge of Kyle Larson's future, everything about the rest of his career looks completely different. To understand why this moment is so important, we have to go back to where the whole story started. Let us go back to 2018 first. Back then, Larson was driving for Chip Ganassi Racing. He was still a young driver, still building his name in the NASCAR Cup Series, and still chasing his first real breakthrough at the top level of stock car racing. That year, he went on the Open Red podcast and said he wanted to leave the Cup Series before he turned 40. His goal was simple: go race wing sprint cars full-time and chase a championship in dirt racing. Then he backed it up on social media. He did not whisper it. He did not hide it. He put it out there for everyone to see. NASCAR fans did not love that. A big group of them took it personally. To them, it sounded like Larson was just clocking in. Like NASCAR was a paycheck and dirt racing was the real love. Like he was counting down the days until he could leave. In a sport where fans invest their hearts, their weekends, and their money into following drivers, hearing one of the most talented racers in the field talk about an exit plan felt like a betrayal. The criticism grew loud enough that Larson had to respond directly. Larson pushed back on that. He explained where he actually stood. "Look, the money is great," Larson said back then. "But I wouldn't be here if I didn't love NASCAR and have fun every week. Sprint cars are extremely fun and high horsepower, but I want to be here." He also spoke about how the NASCAR lifestyle and the camaraderie with the fans is something that is really unique and special. Then he ended it with one line that says everything. "The fans who think I don't like this are crazy." But here is the thing people forget about that time in his life. Chip Ganassi Racing kept him on a short leash. Larson was capped at somewhere around 30 dirt races a year, and none of them during the playoffs. Think about what that means for a driver who grew up on dirt, who learned everything he knows on short tracks, and who feels most at home in a sprint car. He was not allowed to touch the thing he loved during the most important stretch of the season. So, of course, he was dreaming about a life with no limits. He was living with a fence around him. When someone builds a wall between you and your passion, the natural response is to imagine a future where that wall does not exist. That is exactly what the 2018 comments were. They were not a rejection of NASCAR. They were the words of a driver who wanted freedom and could not find it where he was. Then, everything changed. Larson moved to Hendrick Motorsports, and Rick Hendrick did the opposite of what Chip Ganassi did. He opened the gate. Larson got to run dirt almost whenever he wanted. Instead of restrictions, he got trust. Instead of a cap, he got a schedule built around his passion. And the results speak for themselves in a way that almost no other career in modern motorsports can match. Look at what happened after that. 27 of his 32 Cup wins have come since 2018. 2 Cup Series championships, one in 2021 and one in 2025. 3 Knoxville Nationals. 3 Chili Bowls. A King's Royal. He also ran the Indianapolis 500 twice, taking on one of the most demanding races in the world while still carrying a full NASCAR schedule. On top of all of that, he co-founded High Limit Racing, a series built to go head-to-head with the world of outlaws. He did not just keep racing on dirt. He became an owner in the sport. He built something permanent in the world he once thought he would have to leave NASCAR to fully enjoy. And here is the paradox that sits at the center of this entire story. The freedom to race dirt is exactly what killed the need to leave for it. Chip Ganassi Racing built a fence, and the fence created the dream of escape. Rick Hendrick tore the fence down, and the dream of escape slowly lost its purpose. Larson no longer had to choose between two worlds because Hendrick Motorsports let him live in both at the same time. Then came the contract. In February 2026, Larson signed a 5-year contract extension with Hendrick Motorsports that keeps him in the number 5 Chevrolet through the 2031 season. The deal also came with a matching 5-year extension from his primary sponsor, and crew chief Cliff Daniels signed a multi-year contract of his own to stay on top of the pit box. The extension takes Larson through his age 39 season right up to the edge of that famous 40-year milestone he first talked about all those years ago. And Rick Hendrick said something wild about it. He said he would have signed Larson to a lifetime deal if Larson had been open to it. A lifetime deal. That does not happen in this sport. The last time Hendrick Motorsports had a pairing like this, the driver was Jeff Gordon and the crew chief was Ray Evernham. Hendrick made that comparison himself. I remember Jeff and I had a lifetime deal, and I know what he meant to our company, and I know what he still means to our company as vice chairman, Hendrick said. He also made it clear he wants Larson and Cliff Daniels to retire with him, and that he never wanted to race against them. Larson's response to the lifetime deal question was just as revealing. For me, I don't need the contract to know that I will hopefully be there for the rest of my life, Larson said. I don't ever foresee a reason for me to want to entertain being a part of another group. I know what I have at Hendrick Motorsports. But pay close attention to something else he said at that same press conference back in February. I think that gets me close to 40, and then we will see after that. Everyone assumed that we will see meant sprint cars. Everyone assumed the old 2018 plan was still sitting there waiting for him at the end of this contract. It was not. Because this week, ahead of the race weekend at Iowa Speedway, Larson finally answered the question that has followed him for 8 years. Speaking to motorsport.com, he was asked directly about that old dream. Does he still want that sprint car championship before he turns 40? And the answer was no. I started saying this last year, but 40 is my next milestone, Larson said. I want to get there and then evaluate if I want to keep going or be done. It all depends on where my kids are in their lives and interests. Read that last part again. It all depends on where his kids are. Not sponsors, not contracts, not trophies. His kids. Then he closed the door on the sprint car plan completely. As far as competing for a sprint car championship, I would say right now in 2026. That I have changed my mind on that, Larson said. I feel like I have accomplished a lot since I made those comments. I've been able to win 3 Knoxville Nationals, 3 Chili Bowls, and a King's Royal. All the other races. That is a driver telling you he already got what he wanted. He did not need a title to prove it. He went and won the biggest dirt races on the calendar instead. The Knoxville Nationals is the crown jewel of sprint car racing, and he has won it 3 times. The Chili Bowl is the biggest midget race in the world, and he has won that 3 times too. The King's Royal is one of the richest and most prestigious events on dirt, and his name is on that trophy as well. When you have already conquered every mountain in a discipline, the season-long points chase starts to look less like a dream and more like a grind. And then he explained why the title itself does not move him anymore. I just don't know what a championship would add to my career, so I'm just not into the idea now, Larson said. And like I said, I think my kids are going to be busy doing their own racing by that time. So do I really want to commit to an 80 to 90 race schedule? Then he laughed and added, that's way busier than I am now. Think about that for a second. Kyle Larson is already one of the busiest drivers in all of racing. He runs the full 36-race NASCAR Cup Series schedule. He runs dirt races in between. He ran the Indianapolis 500 twice. He co-owns and regularly competes in high-limit racing events during the week. And this man is looking at a full-time sprint car season and calling it too much work. That single sentence tells you how enormous the commitment of a World of Outlaws-style championship chase really is, and how completely his priorities have shifted. Now, here is the part that really matters. Here is the real story hiding inside all of these quotes. His son Owen is 12 years old. He is already racing. His daughter Audrey is 8 years old. She has started racing too. His youngest son, Cooper, is coming up on 4 years old. He is close to that age where kids start climbing into cars and racing families. So, do the math on that. By the time Larson hits 40, Owen will be a serious teenage racer deep into the years that decide whether a young driver has a real future in the sport. Audrey will be right behind him, building her own career on short tracks. Cooper will be old enough to be running his own schedule. 3 children. 3 racing programs, 3 sets of weekends at tracks across the country. If Larson committed to an 80 to 90 race sprint car season at that exact moment, he would be gone every weekend chasing his own points. And he would miss all of it. Every feature win, every heat race, every milestone that he himself lived through as a kid coming up in Northern California. He is telling us he might pick the second option. He might pick them. I just feel like I have a really good balance in my schedule this year, and I'm enjoying that, Larson said. But you never know, and 6 or 7 years down the road, things might change. That is the most honest thing in the whole interview. He is not making a promise, he is not announcing a date, he is not declaring a retirement plan or a farewell tour. He is saying his kids get a vote, and he does not know how they will vote yet. Maybe Owen decides racing is not for him. Maybe Audrey becomes the star of the family. Maybe Cooper never wants to leave the go-kart track. Larson cannot know any of that today, so instead of locking in a future, he has done something far more rare for a professional athlete. He has admitted that the future belongs to someone else. And this is not the only thing Larson has been honest about lately. Just days before this interview, he stepped into a fight nobody expected him to join. IndyCar legend Scott Dixon, a 6-time IndyCar champion, was asked about race lengths, and he took a shot at NASCAR. I find it really hard to watch cup races these days, Dixon said. It allows for a nap, so maybe that's good. NASCAR fans were furious. Media people picked sides. It turned into a full argument between 2 racing worlds, with fans and commentators from both series trading shots online. Then reporters asked Larson about it at Indianapolis Motor Speedway before the Brickyard 400. He could have defended his own sport. He could have fired back at IndyCar. He didn't either. Yes, I agree that a lot of our cup races are too long, Larson said. I just think the way that the world has kind of gone, how people consume sports, I definitely think our races are too long. I think 3 hours is too long. He agreed with the driver from the other series. And the numbers back him up. Cup races this season are averaging about 3 hours and 15 minutes. The Coca-Cola 600 this year took 4 hours, 39 minutes, and 56 seconds. That is longer than most movies, twice over. Stage breaks, cautions, and overtime finishes stretch races in real time to a degree that even people inside the sport are starting to question. Fans came after him hard for saying it. Some told him to retire if he was bored. Others said drivers are out of touch with people who pay real money for tickets. But Larson was not alone in that opinion. Denny Hamlin had already gone off about race lengths on the radio at North Wilkesboro, so this was a conversation already happening inside the garage. Larson simply took the heat for saying it in public at Indianapolis in the middle of a tribal war between 2 fan bases. So put both stories side by side, because together they reveal something bigger than either one alone. Here is a driver saying the races are too long. Here is the same driver saying he does not want an 80 to 90 race dirt schedule. Here is the same driver saying 40 is his checkpoint and his kids will make the call. That is not a man planning his next big chase. That is a man doing math on his own time. Every hour spent at a racetrack is an hour spent somewhere. And for the first time in his career, Kyle Larson is openly weighing where those hours should go. In 2018, the ending everyone imagined for this story was Kyle Larson standing on a stage, hoisting a World of Outlaws championship trophy, finally free from NASCAR and living his dirt racing dream. 8 years later, that picture has been replaced by something quieter and, in many ways, more powerful. Kyle Larson might not leave NASCAR for another series at all. He might leave for a folding chair in a pit area at some short track watching Owen, Audrey, and Cooper do exactly what he did. The greatest all-around racer of his generation trading his own points chase for theirs. And after everything he has already won, that might be the one finish line he actually cares about crossing. So here is the question for you. Do you think Kyle Larson retires from NASCAR before turning 40, or does he keep racing deep into his 40s like Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson before him? Drop your prediction in the comments below.